Sunshine. This is Joy from Michigan in the US, and I am so excited today to be using some new colors to me that I saw Kathleen Osmore of Coz Creations use. I'm using the same colors, kind of, because some of them are custom, so it's kind of how she may have mixed hers slightly different than mine. And the same consistency and the same technique, not going for the same painting, but the same kind of a look that she created. So her paints were very, very thin, like I used to do for a Dutch pour. Does not leave a trace at all. I don't know if you guys can see that in that white. So I'm using titanium white. This is Aquamarine. I'm trying to remember the name. Modern Masters Metallics in Aquamarine. And I added a little bit of the white to just lighten it up a bit so that I'd have more contrast between this and the teal color that I'm using. Let's see if you guys can see. Hopefully, I don't know what you can see because you guys are too high for me to see the screen, but nice thin consistency. I did mix these with Floetrol and water to get them this thin. It would be better to mix them with GAC 800 to thin, but I don't have GAC 800 right now. So this is Golden's Iridescent Silver Fine, which is just gorgeous. And then I added just a little bit of black to make it a little bit deeper color. And then I have Golden's Turquoise Phthalo, which I think is becoming one of my favorite colors. I don't know if you guys can see that, but it's just such a rich teal color. Love that. And then this is another custom color. This is Liquitex Deep Violet Plus Antique Copper in the Modern Masters Metallics line. And so it's got some gold in there. It's very sheeny, shiny, very metallic looking. Just a really beautiful color. So let's dive right in. All right, almost there, guys. Thank you for bearing with me. If you watched my last video, I painted over a table. It's like a little side table that will go in my son's game room, and it is drying really beautifully. I may add a little video of that at the end. It had a lot of cells pop up late in the game, so I came out and checked it at 30 minutes or so, and it looked about the same. And then I came out about an hour later, and I was like, oh, this looks completely different. So that was kind of interesting. I'm not sure if that's because it's on wood, so the paint just sits there a little bit longer and has more time to react with each other. I'm not sure, but I'm not used to coming out an hour later and see it look different, but it did. All right, guys, let's stop the jabbering and hop in. Let me think through what I want to do first. Let's throw some of this purple down. And I need to lose my sticks. All right. And I'm using paper cups today on purpose because I can kind of create a little point, and that will control a little bit, control the flow of my paint. All right. Love that teal. Oh, I didn't really mean to drip it like that, but that's okay. I had noticed as Kathleen did this on her channel, it's really easy to tip off what you don't like because the paint's so thin. So I feel like you can be really bold with this, because if you don't like it, you just run it off the edge and it turns out beautiful still. So give this a try. Let me know what you think. Does it give you a little freedom to feel like you can manipulate it however you want? All right, guys, here goes. Lots of stretching with this technique. I feel like I don't have as much white as I need, so I might add some white. That'll help move the paint a little more. All right, got it over that corner like I want it. Oh, this is such a new technique for me, and I'm telling you, Kathleen makes it look so easy. Kathleen, if you happen to see this, I'm always impressed by you. But you make everything look easy. Okay. I'm gonna hold off for just a minute. We're gonna add some more colors. This will develop as it sits, so I don't want to move too quickly. You want to give it time. I think I need a little more paint this time. And I'm looking forward to doing other things with this color palette because it's just so gorgeous. I just love these colors together. I always like stop midway through this side, so I don't know what that's about. So I'm gonna start just by kind of wiggling it back and forth and getting those colors to kind of flow together a little more. Kind of mix them up a little maybe. Really didn't like all that silver there, so I'm going to pour some of that off, and then I'm going to come right back this way. So I do think with this technique you get a lot more blending, and I feel like I'm not getting the cells that she usually gets, which I'm not sure, maybe because I don't have the GAC like she uses. All right, bring it back this way. Okay. So these little white cells that are popping through on the edges, that's what I'm looking for. It's not what I'm seeing, but it is what I'm hoping for. So just gonna let that sit for a minute. I am gonna hit it with some heat. And somewhere, here it is. I have just a little something or other right there. There we go. All right, let's hit this with some heat. I don't like all that silver. I feel like that should have been underneath everything else, and it may have created some better lines and effects. So I'm going to try to stretch some of that right off the edge. And I can always add more of the other colors that I am loving, which I think I'm going to do. Purple is just so pretty. See if we can get some interaction with the white over there. All right, so I have just a crazy idea. I'm gonna run my fingers through and see what we come up with. Just because the colors are not creating the lines that I want. Okay, I like that better except for this section right here. so. Let's add a little white. And then I will drip it on the table. See if we can just run some of that. I don't want to run everything off, so I may have to do this differently, but for right now, we'll do it this way. Just trying to really stretch these colors out. I forgot about the colors I put on the other side. I should have done one side at a time. That's okay. So I'm not getting the pretty cells like she gets at all, which is a bummer. I must need GAC for that. So if you try this, I recommend using GAC. Because I'm getting more, it looks more like splitting paint, which is what you'll get when you have a lot of water in your paint. And she had beautiful white cells. So thinking. I really like this here. Let me flip this around because I feel like I'm looking at it upside down. So we can add artificial cells. I don't know that it will do a lot for what we have, or I can just strip the paint in a messy, sloppy way. So you can add little cells manually, woman-made cells, as Kathleen would say. So those are the kinds of cells she gets without having to add them. These beautiful white round cells that add so much visual interest. I'm thinking my paints have too much water, which is what comes from trying to thin your paints to this consistency without GAC. So it looks like I'll be ordering some GAC sometime soon, guys, and seeing what I can do with that. I think this would be easiest this way. They are beautiful colors. I may just switch techniques up on us completely, because the other thing I had thought about doing was a Dutch pour, because the paints are the right consistency for that. But I just don't know. Do I or don't I? Or I may let this one dry and see how I feel about it in a few days, and it may be a pour over, or it may not. I don't know. I don't like those cells I added, I'll tell you that much. Yeah, so my paint is more fractured than anything else, and that's not something you want. So I don't even know if I could get a decent Dutch pour out of this baby, because it's just too thin. Too much, well, it's not too thin. The issue is not thin paint. The issue is how much water I've added to the paint, which the golden, I would think the golden fluids can take that, because they are so highly pigmented. But some of these other colors, that may have been, the white, the titanium white, may have been not a high enough pigmented paint to add that much water to. So I'm just gonna do a mouth balloon Dutch pour in this little corner here and see how it looks. And if I don't like it, I can erase it with some white. white around the edges. Look at that. All right, well, I'm tempted to just do that with the blow dryer everywhere, guys. Kind of thinking that I want to leave, like, do the Dutch pour style here, but leave this section as something different. And hopefully that works out okay. These are beautiful colors. I do think I'll have to use this palette again on something else. Maybe on a style I'm a little more familiar with. I don't know, hopefully, most of the time there's somebody that will love your painting, even if it's not speaking to you, it'll speak to them, which is a beautiful thing. All right, here goes nothing, guys. So the softer I blow, the less the colors are gonna mix. The harder I blow, the more mixing I get. Sometimes that leads to more cells like we're seeing right here. So it depends on the look that you're going for. All right, I feel like I've made a giant mess, but I don't want to put any more paint on this because I feel like I'm also blowing through my paint, literally. Okay. I don't know, guys. I don't know about this one. I might try just a little bit more tilting. Just to see if I can get a little bit more. Gonna use up all my white here. So this is it. Whatever I do here, this is it. This paint was too thin. There was too much water in it, for sure. So yeah, if you try this technique, definitely get some GAC 800. Definitely, definitely. Because I feel like I'm just making a muddy mess now. Yep, not loving this one. But it's fun to experiment, so it's not a loss because I still have so much that I learned. And experience is the best teacher, and I just had loads of experience. So I'm gonna call this one a win, guys. It's very, very different. I do want to try one other technique. Just because why not? I mean, we've tried so many things on this canvas. Why not try one more? Yes, I definitely need to get some GAC 800. So, all right, we're gonna do a little bit of swiping. All right, guys, this is kind of growing on me. If this is the bottom and maybe this is the top, I'm kind of grooving on that. All right, let's try some silver. So this is one of those things, I've talked about this before, but if you have a piece you don't love, you might as well fiddle with it and see, you know, practice different techniques and see what you can come up with, because there's no harm in that. It's just going to give you an opportunity to learn how the paint moves, or learn whatever, all sorts of different things you can pick up on. I want a really small piece, so this is the beautiful thing about a laminating sheet. I can just take my laminating sheet and cut it. Same thing with paper towel, I suppose, which is what Kathleen uses most of the time. You can get a much smaller swiping tool. And now, of course, I forget where I was going to put this. Let's add some right here. To my bigger one. I do like the white swipe, so I'm going to try to get some more of that going on through this section that I'm not adoring. All right, so this is like the little bit of everything painting. And if you've hung out with me this whole time, thank you so much. It's so awesome that you've decided to watch my flops. Hopefully learn from me. I love watching art videos. And in fact, this last week I was not feeling well and spent a lot of time just needing to rest, and that's what I did. I watched art videos, and there is a little bit of it that makes me jealous. Like, I so badly wanted to come out to my art room and paint, and I just wasn't well enough to do that. So I guess that's the second best thing, is watching other people do it. But I really missed that time that I would normally have in my art room. Usually if I have extra time that I'm not working or whatever, that's what I do. I spend time in my art room, but that was not the case this time. So trying to vary how much pressure I use when I swipe. You don't want to go all the way through on every single swipe. You want them to look different. You want the line to be thicker and thinner so that it's got some movement. So that's what I'm going for. Not sure if I'm achieving it, but that's the goal. Okay, let's add some purple down here. And that tripod leg's in my way again. I actually think I might want to add some lines of just this color. Just to add, let's try on the edge here. Oh, I'm pouring a little too fast. And this corner is white, so I'm just going to add some there too. All right, and then I almost feel like I want to do this with paper towel instead of my little plastic piece. Let's try that. Oh my goodness, guys. Thanks for hanging. Sorry this is such a long one. My last video was so quick. It was almost too quick. I guess this one's making up for the last one. So let's see. I feel like this is kind of bending on me and I don't really want that. There. Wow, does that add something? All right, another thing we can do, look at me, I'm just gonna keep adding more and more techniques. Just going to blow this line just a little bit. It just kind of mixes it a little more and makes it a more natural feeling part of the painting. So I'm gonna add a little teal here because I feel like this part is a little bit too light. I like the light versus the dark, but it's almost, it just needs a little accent, that's all. But I put too much paint here, so first I'm gonna blow it over the edge and then I'll blow it around to mix it in a little better. All right, I'm gonna let that sit for a minute and see what it does. And then let's take this other piece of paper towel. I'm gonna dip it in the deep teal, which I know is one of our better mixed colors because it's got that golden pigment that's so rich. Oh heavens. Okay, let's hit this with some heat. This is why on Coz Creations, she speeds up her videos. So I'm not sure that you'll hear everything I had to say in this one because it got too long. So I'll probably try to flash through some of it a little bit faster speed than what we had originally.